Hello and welcome to a Kentucky Derby prep race series video preview. The Louisiana Derby is our race in focus today. PTF along with JK. Let's start off by talking about our contest comment winner from the Tampa Bay Derby. Congrats to Silver Charm, one of my favorite horses ever. Silver Charm made the case for Grand Mo the First being an interesting value horse in here. He did get up to be third to those two favorites. I think that's worthy of a comment contest winner. It's a horse that we didn't have betting on the race, obviously, but would have been a big long shot. Good stuff there. Hopefully we can keep the positive momentum going in the new video. JK, let's bring you in to get your thoughts on this year's Louisiana Derby. Why don't we start, rather than start with you giving a pick, why don't you start with your thoughts on the horse that nearly won the prep race for this, Track Phantom?
Yeah, look, I mean, let's talk about the Louisiana Derby quickly. I think this has become a really important prep. It gives you a lot of time to get ready for the Derby if you can win this one, a lot of lead up. And this modern trainer seems to appreciate that time in between races. The other thing is it's the longest distance that you're going to see here in North America getting ready for the Derby, mile and 3/16. So if you can pass this test, it's pretty likely that you're going to pass the test of the mile and a quarter. Track Phantom drawn towards the outside. It does have some other speed to deal with, but I think the lucky part about that is that the other speed happens to be his stablemate. So I'd like to think that Steve Asmussen's not going to send them both away from there, have them stare each other in the eye for a mile and a 16th, and then hope that one of them gets home. I think the strategy will be that one of them will be sent forward, the other one will be forwardly placed, and then they will try to stay out of each other's way. I do think that Track Phantom feels like the more likely, but I do question how much better of a trip can he get than he got last time and still be able to hold off horses that are coming from out of it. He's the one that I prefer, and I think he's very interesting, and he's not a horse that I would get beat by in multi-race bets, but he's not a horse that I can lean on or trust too much.
Another one I want to talk about before we get into our selections in the race is another interesting new shooter. In a lot of ways, this race is a bit of a rematch from the Risen Star. There's about 4 or 5 horses from there, but then we're pulling in all these different form lines. One that we're pulling in is from a maiden race at Gulfstream Park, which we can see up there on the screen. Tuscan Gold, the $600,000 purchase, looking imperious in victory, as they say. That's a polite way of saying beat the tar out of the field. Tuscan Gold looked very good here. The figure was just okay, but the runbacks from the race have been all right too. The breeding is impeccable. Medaglia d'Oro on the top side, Curlin on the bottom side. Do you give any count to a runner like Tuscan Gold in this wide open Kentucky Derby picture?
Absolutely. I think that anytime Chad Brown puts a bridle through or puts a horse's head through a bridle, I think that's the way you do it. JK tries horsemanship and fails. I think that there definitely is always an opportunity for these talented horses to continue to improve, especially on the Derby trail. It's kind of Chad's thing, right? Gets horses to relax and finish their races. That's exactly what you need in a situation like this. And he's got a lot of good ones. It's funny, if you look at Tuscan Gold's running lines, you'll see that Sierra Leone, the early favorite to win the Kentucky Derby, was entered in the same race as Tuscan Gold. So at some point, Chad didn't feel like he was wasting a race by throwing Tuscan Gold into a race with a horse like Sierra Leone. He's a little bit behind the 8 ball in terms of timing, but I wouldn't be shocked at all if Saturday evening we find out that Tuscan Gold won the Louisiana Derby.
You've had a lot of nice things to say on these videos, JK, so far about Timberlake. And I know it's not just a musical hunch play coming from you. Well, Timberlake isn't competing today, but his form line is being represented by a runner called Common Defense. This is the horse that was second at a big price in the Rebel Stakes. Took a big step forward there. We'll see how he gets on in this spot. I'll say this about Common Defense, though. I do think the horse rallied against the flow in the Rebel last time. And if he does well, that's going to really be a big form boost for your boy, Timberlake. Do you think it could happen with Common Defense?
Yeah, I mean, look, Kenny McPeak this year is kind of doing his best Bob Baffert, Todd Pletcher, Brad Cox impersonation with horses all over the place getting ready for this Kentucky Derby. Common Defense makes sense. The number last time was kind of a jump up number. You wonder if sometimes those numbers can be suck along numbers where basically the winner is given a number and the horse that comes closing in kind of gets upgraded a little bit because of the relation of the race. I understand that's how speed figures work, and science behind them suggests that Common Defense did get what he got and deserves it. I just don't quite trust him quite enough yet. We'll have to give him another run, and for me, there's just another closer I prefer more.
let's get to my selection, and I'll throw in an interesting long shot as well to piggyback off it. But the horse I'm going with, and folks who've also watched our interesting horses outside the top 10 video know exactly where I'm going here. Honor Marie, I think, is super interesting in this spot. We had that note that Honor Marie not fully fit for the last run in the Risen Star. Stuck on well, as the Brits say, against the flow in that spot. Almost has to improve. And what I really like about Honor Marie, probably the best bit of form on offer from any of the runners in this race, is that Kentucky Jockey Club. Earned that 92 buyer speed figure there. Should be fit enough now, second off the layoff. Has had months to improve since that Kentucky Jockey Club 92. I think Honor Marie could post a career best. You made the point about how Hall of Fame and Track Phantom are going to duel. There's other horses that might have to show speed, both from the inside and the outside in this spot. I'm hoping the race is going to be run to suit. Timeform US had the pace coming back as fast. There's a lot of different ways you can go in terms of closers in this race. Honor Marie, the one that I'm going with. And another horse I'm going to throw in there for underneath consideration actually comes out of that same Kentucky Jockey Club Gold Cup race. Real Men Violin was beaten 2 lengths by Honor Marie that day. Had a bit of a debacle in the Risen Star, but I'm going to just excuse that one. Was a huge price, was probably short of fitness as well, coming off that break, and just had kind of a miserable trip and was taken care of, I would say, halfway through that race by the jock. This horse should be a huge long shot again today. I think can maybe run second or third, maybe really show the validity of that Kentucky Jockey Club Gold Cup form line. JK, let's bring you back in to get your selection in the Louisiana Derby.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Catching Freedom. I think he's probably one of the best horses in this race. I think his style for this mile and 3/16 with a bunch of horses, you're still trying to figure out if they want to go this far. I think it's going to work out great. And look, I'm not saying this is a positive rider change. I don't think you can ever say that Luis Saez off is a positive. But I will say it's an interesting change considering the style to Flavien Prat. And I think it's an interesting change that doesn't give me any pause when in normal situations with Louis off might give me some pause. I'm going to go with Catching Freedom.
Want to thank the sponsors of this video, our friends at Free Reign Coffee. They've been doing this a long time, making delicious stuff. I've been enjoying my first shipments of it. Looking forward to being a subscriber to their service for a long time. You can also order a la carte as well. You can get beans, you can get grounds, you can get pods. Check out their website, freereigncoffee.com. And I think there's going to be a link up there on the screen for a little promo code that you can use and help us out by clicking through and supporting our sponsors, because when you support our sponsors, you support us. Any closing thoughts from you, JK, on this year's Louisiana Derby before we throw this one home?
Yeah, this really feels like the final round of Derby preps is coming. So make sure you tune in, subscribe, see the rest of the videos we're going to do. But these are the ones that matter. These 100-point races, these mile and 3/16, these mile and 8th races. These are the ones that really help determine what's going to happen the first Saturday in May.
It's a good point about all the content we have coming down the pike. InTheMoneyPodcast.com. That's our online home. You can also subscribe wherever you get your podcast to the In the Money Players podcast. The Black Feed gets you absolutely everything we've got. And of course, as JK intimated, you help us out by subscribing to our YouTube channel as well. And don't forget, comment contests continue. Give us your exacta here for the Louisiana Derby. We will feature you in an upcoming video. Always great to be here with you, JK, and talk Derby preps. And there's a lot more coming down the line as we get close to our Monster Pods, which are going to be a lot of fun. They're Monster Pods in audio. On YouTube, they're going to be mini pods. We're going to have a little video about each horse who's going to make it into the starting gate for this year's Kentucky Derby. Be on the lookout for that as well. For JK, I'm PTF. May you win all your photos.